the years, we've done a lot of stories about people who live along the Oregon coast. One of my favorites is a guy named Jim Gibbs. He knows more about the maritime industry than anyone else on the Pacific coastline. Tonight, you're going to meet this old man who lives by and understands it.
I think it's a little bit of heaven, really.
There is something about the ocean that draws us.
I never lived out of sight of salt water.
Jim Gibbs is as close to it as anyone. It was 1973 that he and his late wife, Sherry, were looking for a place to build their lighthouse on the Oregon coast. They found this spot.
Just as we were going out the door, he says, well, there is a place just south of town here that you might want to look at. It's like a jungle, though. You can't get in there.
They did get in there. Jim's fascination with lighthouses satisfied once again.
Well, I guess it goes back a long way. I, of course, got real interested in them when they sent me to Tillamook Rock.
Terrible Tilly, as sailors and lighthouse keepers like Jim used to call her. Tilly is just south of Seaside.
You learn the hard way. I'd never lived in an isolated position before, and the first couple of weeks I was thinking about jumping into the ocean and trying to swim the mile and a half to shore.
That isolation stuck with him. He quietly lives on the cleft of the rock, reading books on shipwrecks and maritime history, and keeping the lights on for the fishermen.
We get a lot of good reports from commercial fishermen saying how they appreciate the fact that we have a light here, because rather than depending on it for navigation, they take their bearings on it at night.
He watches the sea.
The sea itself is like the moods of a woman, changing all the time. And the sunsets and the storms, the gales, the winds, and the calm, they all become a part of you.
Jim says it's the inconsistency of the ocean that attracts us. Its unpredictability gives her just enough edge to intrigue.
Well, the ocean is beautiful to look at, wonderful to see, but you realize that it's a place of death, too.
Jim's home is like thumbing through the pages of history, shipwrecks and maritime history, moments long forgotten by most, forever captured in artifacts and photos.
The main reason they survive is they have become monuments. It's like an old sailor.
And then there is that lighthouse, his lighthouse.
And I think people like them because they're peaceful. There's nothing wrong about a lighthouse, if you know what I mean.
For the most part, the lighthouse has outlived its purpose.
And the original purpose of them was to save souls at sea.
Jim thinks they still provide light to save souls, but the light provided is to our past, his past.
I've never accomplished anything great. I've never done anything that I can brag about, but I feel at peace in my heart.
A landmark, a beacon, a light that still shines brightly in the darkest spot.
Old lighthouse keepers their lights just slowly go out.
Back when they were planning lighthouses to be put along the Oregon coast, Cape Perpetua was scheduled to have one, but it never got built until Jim moved in. That's why he put it here, and his lighthouse is officially recognized by the U.S. Coast Guard.